Warning, 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 warning. Warning, 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 warning.
Good evening, and welcome to the New York Sports Guys program. I'm one of your co-hosts, Gagz. The other person you'll hear in a few minutes is Garris, and we come to you live via Ustream.tv. We are an uncensored sports talk program. There is profanity. There is adult language. If that bothers you, I apologize now, but I'm not going to hold back, and neither is my partner, to make your ears feel better about itself. Mr. Garris, how you doing tonight?
Not too bad, not too bad. How about yourself?
I'm hanging in there.
What a crazy couple days since you were away for in North Carolina for about a week or so. You missed a lot of shit that went down this week.
Yeah, I know. Took a little vacation with the wife, was gone 10 days. That's pretty much why there was no broadcast last week to anybody tuning in. Yeah, I did miss a lot because in the South, sports coverage sucks. There's not more I could say about that. The only outlet I have was ESPN, and when it comes to sports talk down there, it's about as bad as it gets. All they talk about is NASCAR and college football.
That's all they got to look forward to down there. I got to tell you, I'm pretty excited about the training camp opening up with the Giants and the Jets. Of course, the Jets are acting like their typical selves, getting into some fights. There's always got to be controversy. It can't be a nice, easy training camp. This whole Tebow thing is a distraction, which we're going to touch on that right about now. Were you able to catch anything about the fighting inside Jets camp?
All right, well, this is what I saw. Monday, actually, I was driving for about 10 hours, so I didn't see what happened Monday, but I believe it was Tuesday evening. I got a chance to check out a little bit of SportsCenter, as well as a little bit of Hard Knocks. We'll get into that later, too. But I did see that there was a scuffle the day before, and I know it was supposedly like a 20-man brawl, and what I saw was the next day they had another little scuffle, and big old Rex think he's Bear Bryant now, making him run wind sprints. If that ain't a joke, I don't know what is.
What was the joke was, did you see Tim Tebow? He's got to be the little teacher's pet. I'm going to suck up and I'm going to be the starting quarterback. He's leading the team in wind sprints.
Oh, I saw that. I noticed that too. In the 30 seconds they showed on ESPN, they showed him running about 5 or 6 of them, and Tebow is the only one actually sprinting. Like, can you be any more of a kiss ass?
You know what, but how bad is this that we're criticizing him for doing his job and not getting on the lazy assholes that are kind of dogging it out there?
This is true. And you know what's funny? I don't know the report, but if I had to guess, the reason the fight started is probably because Antonio Cromartie probably impregnated somebody on the team's girlfriend.
Well, he wouldn't know about it until 2 years later and then forget the name.
Absolutely. It'd just be a part of another long list of names that he can't even remember himself.
Well, it's going to be good because from what I understand reading in the newspaper that Tim Tebow is eventually going to be the starter. Cromartie is going to be safety, returning punts, playing left guard, and receiver.
Yeah, you know what's funny is you mentioned the left guard, and they have this Tebow doing everything else but playing left guard, so I'm surprised he isn't in competition with Wayne Hunter this week for actually starting right tackle position.
He's no Bachigaloop, I tell you that.
Oh, no, nobody's better than Bachigaloop Jones. Love him on the other side of the river. But back to the Jets. The coverage that this team got for the first week, I don't know if it's me, but for a team that really hasn't done anything, was a mediocre football team who did not make the playoffs, for them to get the coverage that they would get, they were leading SportsCenter every night. It seemed like the whole first week of training camp. Do you even think that this team is a story? Because, to be honest, it just looks like another 8-8 mediocre team to me.
Well, they're getting a lot of exposure for a team that, basically an 8-8, 9-7 team. The year they made the AFC Championship, they were 9-7. Didn't do any better last season. But I find myself really getting into. I hate the Jets, but I find myself getting really into it because I love the drama. All these other sports writers, and when you listen to SportsCenter, they're reporting on the turmoil that's in Jet camp. And I guess they wanted to change. I know Francesa can't stand the Jets, can't stand Rex Ryan's attitude. I can't stand the Jets, but I love it. I love to see the whole fucking thing kind of crumble apart because you're not going to win. You're not going to win a championship. The first year under Rex Ryan, they got lucky. Anybody thinks that the Jets earned the spot in the AFC Championship game? They played well in the playoffs, but they should have been out of a postseason spot because if it wasn't for Peyton Manning and the Colts pulling the plug in the last game of the year, they wouldn't have made the playoffs. But give them credit, they made it to the AFC Championship game. Second year, I think they were a little bit better, and they made the championship game, but they were out. Last year, they didn't do shit. They're the most overexposed 9-7 team on the planet, but I find myself watching them any chance I get. It's something so interesting about, is Tebow going to start? This one's punching this one. Santonio Holmes doesn't want to play with the rest of the teammates. You know, Cromartie impregnates another woman. I love it. This is fucking great to me.
They are, and I get what you're saying, and I kind of agree with it. It is the train wreck that when you drive by, you kind of just, you got to check it out. You got to see how bad it is, you know? That's what I compare it. I compare it to one of the accidents on the Cross Bronx where it looks like two people weren't paying attention and smacked into each other.
And I'm the biggest rubbernecker. I'm watching.
You pain in the ass. That's why I sit in 3 hours of traffic every day. But, you know, when it comes to the Jets, I love Rex. I love the old Rex. I love the outspoken Rex. I love the I'm going to come into your building, punch you in your mouth type attitude that he brought to the team. But I also think that was, you know, probably his biggest mistake was trying to be almost like a player instead of a coach for the last couple of years. And last year when it all fell apart and he took the beating for, you know, making the comment that he wasn't in touch with his team.
Well, there's a way to be intense. The best intense coach that I have ever seen is Bill Cowher. He could rile up his team, get them pumped up, angry, go take it out on the field. But he kept his mouth shut when it came to the papers and the media, which is uninteresting for us watching, but as far as respectability, Cowher takes the cake. This guy, Rex Ryan, is riding his dad's coattails, and he takes credit for the Ravens' defense, which won a championship. When it wasn't him, it was
Marvin Lewis.
Marvin Lewis. I was just about to say, what the fuck is his name from Cincinnati? From Marvin Lewis. So he gets credit for nothing. He has won nothing.
No, he's absolutely won nothing, and I love how he says he's the best defensive coordinator in the game. Yeah, Rex, that's all well and good, but isn't your goal as the head coach of the New York Jets to be the best head coach in the game?
And if you're weak in offense, and I know Schottenheimer's not with the team anymore, if you're weak in offense, wouldn't you get like an offensive juggernaut coach, like somebody to plug in there that can wing it like a Martz or somebody like that? If you have no control of the offense and he admitted he wants no control of the offense, would you have somebody like Brian Schottenheimer doing dink and dunk and this and fucking that? Does that make sense?
No, it doesn't, but you know what? I think they brought in a guy that
was an offensive line coach from Dallas who decided, shit, I don't have any kind of offensive credibility. Let me run the Wildcat in Miami. I mean, what is he going to bring?
But you know what? Even though the couple of years that he was in Miami, his offense was pretty good. You know, they did score. They scored against they played good against some of the better teams. But I don't think that they brought him in here because he's an offensive genius. I think they brought him in here to kind of make Rex stand on his toes a little bit. I mean, this guy is a guy with head coaching experience. He's a New York guy. He's got one of those attitudes similar to Rex. The offensive guys from the interviews that I've heard seem to love him. They'll go to bat for him, which is a good thing. But from what I saw of the game the other night, I didn't get to see much because, like I said, I was in North Carolina, so they didn't have the feed, and I was trying to watch a little bit through the computer. But from what I did see, it's the same old freaking offense. These guys are dinking it, dunking it. They can't pass block. The best two things about the whole game was Joe McKnight, who's not even your starting running back, who probably, in my opinion, should be because he's more explosive than Sean Green, and he can do more for you.
Who started the big brawl the other day? He was the one that started that second brawl where it was the 20-man pile-on.
Oh, so Cromartie was the one, he slept with Joe McKnight's girlfriend. Okay.
Right.
now we can connect the dots. But and the next best thing, which is pretty sad, was Tim Tebow, who was 4 for 8, rushed for 34 yards, and threw a pick. I mean, they moved the ball best with him. It's kind of sad, and a lot of people have said it, and a lot of analysts on the big networks have said it. It almost seems like they are setting this up for Tebow to take over, and to be honest, I'm starting to believe it.
Well, as a Miami Dolphin fan, I hope that's what happens. Any team that Tebow's on, I got caught up in the whole. Let me back up a little bit. I didn't get caught up in the Tebow hype in the beginning. I know he sucks. I know he sucked through the entire winning streak. It was just interesting to see a guy that sucked get it done, because the guy is a winner. He was a winner in Florida, but we all knew he wasn't going to be an NFL quarterback. He still isn't. You can't throw the ball and consistently win. Last year was a fluke. If it wasn't for the outstanding defense that Denver played, or for Marion Barber stepping out of bounds against the Bears last year, there was so many instances. I guess God came down and blessed Tebow. The whole fucking Jesus freak thing gets on my nerves. God bless him, he's a good guy, but fuck him. I think he's a horrible quarterback. And if he's going to be taken over for the Jets, it's good for Dolphins fans. We won't finish in last place.
Well, you still got the Buffalo Bills up there. They're I don't think they're going to be very good.
Good.
I mean, they had a nice year last year. I'm not going to lie that they were in it for a little while, but I don't see them as any type of threat to anybody, including Miami, who, to be honest, we'll get into this a little later. I like what I saw in Hard Knocks. It seems like they got a coach that's going to push them and make them work hard, but we'll come back to that. Let's go to the lonely, forgotten Super Bowl champions of last year, the New York Giants. Have you ever seen a Super Bowl who had one of the great playoff runs twice in 5-year span, and nobody even thinks like they're a playoff team? How crazy is that, Garris?
I thought they relocated. I didn't even know Giants were a team in New York anymore.
That's what it seems like. Even in the newspapers, you figure everybody says it's a Yankees and then Giants town, and from what it seems like, it's Yankees and the Jets. There's no other football team in New York. There's 3 small articles in the papers about the Giants, and you have 18 pages on Tebow, when he takes a dump, the Tebow tracker in the New York Post. Do I really need a 15-minute breakdown of what this man is doing every time he changes his spot on the field or goes into the locker room or takes off his shirt? I mean, this is so absurd that the Giants, who have a great defense, and the sick thing, and this bothered me the most, actually. This week I was watching a little ESPN in the morning, and, on the side of their screen they run down, their ESPN ranks, their power rankings for defense. They had, the Giants ranked, 21st in defense.
Is it really? That's ridiculous.
How ridiculous is that? With the guys that they throw out a pass rush at you, the safeties they have, I mean, don't get me wrong, their linebacker crew is pretty weak, but it's young. They have young guys who made strides last year. If they continue to improve this year, they're going to be even better than they were last year. And their defense really wasn't healthy until, I want to say, week 17, and it wasn't even completely healthy because Tuck played from week 16 against the Jets all the way through the playoffs at about 85%, I would say. He was not 100% at any point in the playoffs. This defense is dangerous. This offense looks to be even more potent. The kid that they drafted, David Wilson, he looks like he is a player. I'm very excited. He looks like a younger Bradshaw. And DJ Ware, he had a quote saying, he's playing for his life pretty much. He's been here for 4 years. They've given him opportunities to be kick returner, punt returner, third down back. He can never stay healthy. He's always hurt on the first play of the year. And he looked pretty good the other night in their preseason game. And the Giants, as usual, they moved the ball pretty efficiently. And nobody's talking about him. It's kind of frustrating, but it's kind of funny in the same sense.
Well, it's exactly what they want. Reading an interview with Mara, they was saying that this, he basically took a shot, not a shot at the Jets, but kind of said, they can do whatever they want. We kind of like it like this, Nobody pays us too much attention, and keep it quiet, and it's paid off for them. You don't hear about them. The only thing you hear about the Giants is former players being disgruntled, whether it was Armani Toomer or Tiki Barber. That's all you hear. You don't really hear any turmoil in the locker room, any infighting, things like that. Coughlin's got a real tight control over the team. I love that guy. He's awesome. He's turned me into a Giant fan. Eli Manning, that dopey retard, he just goes out there, plays his game, and gets the job done. And I know you probably want to hear, it's the beginning of the football season, and if you're like me, I fucking love football. It's the greatest sport ever. I can't stand baseball because I'm a Mets fan, but when it comes to football, I get really excited. Can't wait for the preseason games. And the preseason games are shit, but I just like it. So I can understand the Jets getting all the media or all the attention, and the Giants aren't. But you know what? You're better off just going in there and being quiet and just get your job done. That's just always been the Giants' way, and it's paid off for them.
I totally agree. And it's funny you brought up the former Giants being disgruntled and taking shots at the team, like Armani saying, Kerry Collins was a better quarterback than Eli Manning. And I'm not sure if you even heard the rebuttal from Eli. Actually, I think it was on the Michael Kay show on ESPN. Eli went on air after, somebody mentioned that comment that Armani made about him. And he said Ike Hilliard was a better receiver than him, so he shouldn't talk, which I found hilarious. It was about 2 months ago. I'm sure if you go online, anybody out there who's interested in hearing it, you could probably find it in YouTube or something. But it's a pretty funny line. Eli really seems comfortable here now for a lot of years. He was always calm, cool, and collected, but he always seemed like he didn't really have ownership of the team.
Well, Jesus Christ, if you win 2 Super Bowls and you don't feel comfortable in the system, he'll never feel comfortable. But
well, it's really not until like the last 2 years that you really see. Eli's become a different guy over the last 2 seasons.
He's the only New York quarterback to have 2 Super Bowl rings, and I don't count Phil Simms second because he wasn't playing. It was
Hostetler. Yep.
So he had control of the team 2 different seasons, 2 similar seasons, beating up teams left and right. Well, this year they had the 1 home game against the Falcons, but going on 2 tough games on the road to go to the Super Bowl, and he's just a proven winner. I mean, he looks retarded, but he's a proven winner.
Duh. I think I saw him actually in North Carolina driving a pickup with a Confederate flag. But I'm not. I can't make a positive ID. I couldn't get a picture because there's a big quaff hanging over his face. But
he always has the who farted face.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Oh, good old Eli, country bumpkin. But you know what? He's the best quarterback New York's seen for a long time, and I think when it's all said and done, he'll probably be the best one to ever take the field here in New York. Let's get into a team real quick before we take our break, and we'll come back to it after the break. But let's touch base on Hard Knocks. You are a Miami Dolphins fan. Let everybody out there know how much you love this Miami Dolphin team as organization. I wouldn't say you love this team, but you've been a Dolphins fan pretty much your whole life.
Huge.
Your family I believe your family's Dolphin fans, so give the people a little background on your Dolphins history.
I love the Dolphins. Once again, another team like the Mets, who not that the Dolphins haven't won a Super Bowl since I've been alive, but they were in one when I was, and of course I wasn't old enough to watch it, so I don't know anything else but losing. I do remember the Dan Marino years, going to the AFC Championship game. I do remember that. This has just been a team that I've never walked away from. I've sat through that 1-15 season, sat through last year's debacle, starting off 0-6 or 0-7, and I was kind of behind it because I wanted Andrew Luck. What's freaking great, and I wasn't sure about this Tannehill guy, Ryan Tannehill, being drafted. I heard good things about him. Greasy recently came out and said that he is the real deal, that everything he's been talked up to, he's that and more. And I'm so excited about watching Hard Knocks. When it came out last Tuesday, and tomorrow night I can't wait for the next episode. But when I found out my team was going to be on there, I'm like, what are they really going to talk about, really? And then they get this Chad Ochocinco. I was like, this is going to be great. He's going to make a life out of it, life out of the whole show. But before we get into Chad, Ryan Tannehill has been more than I could have asked for in his first preseason. I know that's a lot in a preseason game, but the guy looks cool, calm, collected. He stands in there. He's 6'4", 220 pounds. He looks like a real deal quarterback. So I'm really excited. Unfortunately, they got rid of a player I was pretty excited about in Chad Johnson, and what an idiot he is. In the first episode of Hard Knocks, he's leaving on his day off, and shouts out to, I guess it was like a personnel guy in the locker room, says, hey, Stu, I'm going to get arrested over the weekend. And the guy says, all right, I'll bail you out. And he goes, I appreciate that, and walks out the door. he can predict his own fucking future, can he?
Hey, listen, I did post a small clip of it on my Facebook, and you could probably see it through our new fan page on Facebook. It's New York Sports Guys on Ustream.tv. Like us, and you'll get all updates of the show and whatnot. But at least he's a man of his word. Unlike a lot of guys who talk shit and don't back it up. I mean, from trash talk on the field to saying the ridiculous shit he says in press conferences, like after football he's going to go into porn. At least he backs up what he says. And to come back real quick on Ryan Tannehill, wasn't this guy I don't know his history all that well. I should have done more research, but like I said, I was traveling.
Well, that's okay. I did all the research on this guy because I'm the only one.
Wasn't he a receiver for 2 or 3 years at A&M before he became a quarterback?
2.5 years at A&M as a quarterback. He wanted to go to Texas Tech, but he wasn't, I guess, solicited from them. So he went to his dad's rival, Texas A&M. Wanted to play quarterback, was told that he was going to be able to, but it took 2.5 years for him to become a quarterback. He was a pretty damn good receiver, too. He's tall enough to play, like I said before, he's 6'4", but this guy can throw the fucking ball. When they first drafted him, Stephen Ross, the annoying owner of the Miami Dolphins, who all he wants to do is be affiliated with the likes of
J-Lo and
Fergie and all those other assholes in Miami. He wants to be Mr. Hollywood. They drafted him, and he said that he has no shot to start this year, which as a Dolphin fan just kind of I took a shot in the stomach. Not that I expect that we're going to make the playoffs or win a Super Bowl this year, but Dave Garrard and Matt Moore, I don't care about these two guys.
Well, Matt Moore is a guy who I believe has potential. I saw good things at the end of 2 years ago with Carolina when he beat the Giants.
He's the Dave Brown of 2012. He can win you a couple games. He's just not going to get you into the playoffs, and he's not going to win. He's a 7-9, 8-8, maybe a 9-7, not making the playoffs type quarterback.
You know what? He's a guy who's been in the league for 4 years now. He's probably starting to feel comfortable. You've seen little streaks of potential Pro Bowl caliber play, and like you said, you've seen streaks of really bad, maybe as a third-string quarterback. But this guy really hasn't got a full opportunity to be a starter, to know he's the starter. And I think if you give this guy that chance, plus, he seems to be picking up the system from what we can see in Hard Knocks better than anybody. You know what? I wouldn't think it's a bad idea, knowing that I don't know if this football team really can compete for a playoff spot in the AFC. The AFC is very deep. And Tannehill, although he's got all the tools, and he probably has the neck up because he's playing for the same coach, the same offensive system he did in college. So, maybe you take it a little slow with him. He's only played 2.5 years of big-time football at the quarterback position. You don't want to throw this guy out there, take a couple of hits, throws a couple of interceptions, it gets in his head. You want him to be completely comfortable. But with the wife that he holds at his side.
Sorry, but the thing I would say about that is he's a little bit different than a standard rookie quarterback. He's not 22. He's 24, so he is a little bit older. He's also a smart guy. He's pre-med in college, so it's not like he's not like he's a bum student, not smart. He's got his wits about him. The fact that Sherman is now his offensive coordinator, who is his coach over in A&M, is brought over the exact same offense. He doesn't have to learn a new pro system offense. He's just learning the same offense that he's always known. So I think that's a big leg up. And it was funny because the coach even put him, right off the bat, which I expected, put him as the third string starter, or third string quarterback, I should say, when training camp started. And in the episode of Hard Knocks, you see a little side interview of Coach Philbin talking to Sherman, saying, man, he's been throwing the ball really well. Like, he was really surprised, almost setting it up like by the end of Hard Knocks, this guy's going to be getting the starting job. And I got to say, I did a nice little cheer when I found out that Garrard got his knee scoped and is going to be out at least 4 weeks. That was a blessing because he's going to beat out Matt Moore. He had a bad first preseason game.
He looked like shit, too, learning the system in Hard Knocks. I mean, now, I know that there's a lot of that is edited and it's portrayed a specific way, but he really looked like he was a rookie again.
Yeah.
From what I saw, he wasn't picking up the offense. I mean, that's why when from what I saw, and we'll see more tomorrow night, and from what I saw at the end of last year, that makes me think that Matt Moore is going to be the starting quarterback for at least the first 4 weeks. Because this team really, I don't think they're going anywhere. And you could say, well, then throw Tannehill in and let him get his reps, let him take his hits, let him get adjusted. It'll be just a little bit quicker of a learning curve for him. But you know what? If every year you see one of these teams kind of come out of nowhere, and I think with this coach, the disciplinarian type that I think he is, the fast-paced guy I think he is, and I think this guy's got a hunger, this Philbin. I don't know much about him. I know that he said he's been an assistant coach for 10,000 days, but this guy almost looks like whoever's carved him to be a head coach did a hell of a job. And we don't know if he's going to be great or not, but he looks like he has all the makings of being something really special for the next 10 years. He looks like a legitimate head coach and the next wave of head coaches. With the long list of failures that the Miami's had recently, it's nice to have a guy. I wasn't sure when they got him. Yeah, he came from Green Bay, but Green Bay had Aaron Rodgers and a shitload of receivers. So, you can only do with what you have. But the way he's setting up his team, not a heavy disciplinarian, total democracy when it comes there. Wants you to speak your mind, but wants to keep everything in-house. He's going to get the respect of the players real quick, the way he runs his practices. Just watching the first episode of Hard Knocks, you can get that view. It's with Tannehill's performance in the first preseason game, 14 of 21, 170 yards or so and a touchdown. This guy looked really smooth. I mean, putting in passes that you don't see 5, 6, 7-year starters making. I mean, underthrowing it because that's where the only place the receiver can catch it. Throwing it over the shoulder, leading the guys. I haven't seen that in a quarterback in a long, long time. Certainly not from. The only person with touch that I've seen like that was Chad Pennington, and he didn't have the arm that this guy has. He has a rocket for an arm. Well, I'm going to take your word on that because I didn't see the game, but I did see the numbers, and the numbers did jump out of what the rookie did the other night. And, it's going to be interesting because this is a team that has a lot of young guys, a couple veterans. They're not going to be world beaters by any sense, but even though they got off to a bad start last year, they played pretty well at the end of the year. And, this could be a juggernaut team if everything comes together and, everybody plays for this guy. And I don't think he's a disciplinarian. I think you misunderstood the way I was saying. But pretty much he's going to let you say what you feel, but he's not going to take shit from anybody. And at the end of the day, it's going to be his way or the highway. And you saw that with the little one-on-one that he had with Chad Johnson. Pretty much telling him, listen, you're going to do it my way. If you don't like it, don't shake your head yes. Let me know. But at the end of the day, if it's not going to work, I'll cut your ass, And pretty much went out, headbutted his wife, which we're going to get back to in a minute. You know what?
Who can blame him?
Yeah, well, you know what? We'll jump back into that for a few minutes. We're going to take a quick break. And then we got some Dwight Howard coming up, some NBA, Olympic basketball. Maybe we'll do a little bit more on the Olympics besides the basketball. And then we'll continue to roll with this show. So hang with us. This is Garris Gagz, New York Sports Guys, broadcasting live via Ustream.tv. Back after this.
Raising hell with the flavor, terrorize the jam like troops in Pakistan, swinging through your town like your neighborhood Spider-Man. So tick-tock and keep ticking, when I get you flipping off the shit that I'm kicking. The Lone Ranger, co-ed, danger, deep in the dark with the art, to rip the charts apart, the vandal, too hot to handle your battle, you're saying goodbye like Tevin Campbell. Up next, inspect the decks on the set, the rebel, I make more noise than heavy metal. The way I make the crowd go wild, sit back, relax, won't style. Ray got it going on, pal. Call me the rap assassinator. Rhymes rugged and built like Schwarzenegger. And I'ma get mad deep like a threat. Blow up your project, then take all your assets. Cause I came to shake the frame in half with the thoughts that bomb shit like math. So if you wanna try to flip, yo, flip on the next man. Cause I'll grab the clip and hit you with 16 shots and more I got. Going to war with the melting pot. It's the Method Man for short, Mr. Map. Move it on your left. And set it off, get it off, let it off like a gat. I wanna break food, cock me back. Small change, ain't putting shame in the game. I take game and blow that nigga out the frame. And like bang, my style will live forever. Niggas crossing over like they don't know no better. But I do. True, can I get a sue? Enough respect due to the 1-6 fool.
fucking with the worst. I be sticking pins in your head like a fucking nurse. I'll attack any nigga who's slacking his Mac. Come fully packed with the fat rugged stack. Shame on you when you step through too. The old dirty bastard, straight from the Brooklyn Zoo. And I'll be damned if I let any man come to my center. You enter the winter, straight up and down. That shit is pack cam. You can't slam. Don't let me get fooled on the man. The old dirty bastard is dirty and stinking. They so unique rolling with the night of the creeps. Niggas be rolling with a snaz. Ain't saying gas. Wipe my style. I'll bite your motherfucking ass.
Out loud, my style is wild, so book me. Not long is how long that this rhyme took me. Ejected styles from my lethal weapon. My pen that rocks from here to Oregon. Here's more again. Catch it like a psycho flashback. I love gats. Rap was a gun. You wouldn't bust back. I come with shit in all types of shapes and sounds. And where I lounge is my stomping grounds. I give an order to my peeps across the water to go and snatch up props all around the border and get far like a shooting star. Pursue our art is living the life Apollo Escobar. Point blank as I kick the square biz. There it is. You're fucking with pros and there it goes.
Yo, chill with the feedback block. We don't need that. It's 10 o'clock, ho. Where the fuck should see that? Feeling mad hostile. Ran out hostile. Flowing like Christ when I speaks the gospel. Soul with the holy roll. Then attack the globe with the buckets. Style the ruckus. 10 times 10 men committing mad sin. 20 other cheek and I'll break your fucking chin. Slang boom bangs like African drums. Coming around a mountain when I come. Crazy flamboyant for the rap enjoyment. My planet freeze like black unemployment. Yeah, another one dare. Took a genius. Take us the fuck out of here.
The woo is too slamming for these coke killer labels. So ain't had hits since I seen Aunt Mabel. Be doing all the setting like Kane did Abel. Now they money's getting.
We are back with Garris and Gagz, the New York Sports Guys, broadcasting live via Ustream.tv, and our channel also broadcasts on our fan page at Facebook. It's New York Sports Guys on Ustream.tv. Like us, you'll get updates on upcoming events and shows, any promotions that we're going to be running in the near future. Back to the topic of Miami Dolphin football and Hard Knocks. This Chad Johnson situation, do you think he really headbutted his wife?
Oh, I think he did, and I can't blame him. We've all been in a position where you wanted to punch somebody right in the mouth for getting a little lippy. And knowing this woman's past, not to blame it on her, I don't want anybody saying, oh, you're condoning wife abuse. In this case, I am, because she's she's what they call a diva, a pain in the ass. Probably getting on his nerves a little bit. You ever get that point where, God, I want to just hit you right in the face, but I can't, so fucking, and he gives a little headbutt. Enough to just release the tension, make him feel better. But you can't hit her with your head, because that's a hard part, and it's going to split the skin on her head. I understand why he did it. You can't do it. I'm just kind of a little annoyed that the Dolphins cut him. I know Coach Philbin's trying to set a precedent saying, listen, I warned you, don't do any stupid shit. He does something stupid, so he's got to live up to his word, otherwise he loses his team. But I was looking forward to it, and not for the show, because the team really matters, but the guy had something to come out there and prove. If you watch that first episode, he's coming out there, he's looking to prove everybody wrong.
He looked great.
Anymore. He looked great, you know.
I thought he looked great. Diving for balls, running hard on every route, and I mean, this is practice. Most of these veterans, 10, 12 years in the league, 8 Pro Bowls and whatnot, they're out there, they're going half speed. This guy was going 150%, and it's kind of a shame that this happened to him, and I personally, I like the guy. I think he's a character. There's not many personalities in sports, at least.
But how are you going to get fired on your day off?
Well, you go get arrested. That's what happens. There's few personalities in sports. When they speak, I have to listen. And, Dennis Rodman, for me, was one of those guys. You never knew what was going to come out of his mouth.
Usually a dick.
Yeah, but you know what? It drew my attention. I think Rex has that, bravado to him. And Ocho Cinco, T.O. too. I think T.O. is a very interesting cat. And the fact, you got these receivers now, and it's a shame that Chad Johnson isn't with a team because, I was wondering who's going to be the most effective with their new team of these 3 great Hall of Famers, past their prime, with Ocho Cinco, Randy Moss, and Plaxico Burress. I was wondering Plaxico's not even in the league. Randy Moss, Terrell Owens, and Ocho. But I hope this guy does get picked up, is given a second chance. You see a lot of guys do, I want to say, worse things. I mean, I don't want to condone, domestic violence in any sense, just as you said before, but
Except in this case.
you know what? The guy's got to smarten up. At least step on her foot, like that's what my dad always said. Listen, if you get frustrated, never hit a woman, but you know what? You can always step on her foot by mistake, and you know what? You can't go to jail for stepping on someone's foot. So, Chad, if you happen to listen or you're able to listen to this, next time you get pissed off, just step on the bitch's foot.
He would have, he wouldn't have been in a world of hurt right now. I mean, loses his job, and then loses his reality show. VH1 wound up canceling the reality show.
Oh, they did cancel it?
Yeah, they finally canceled it. He's done. I feel bad for him in a way. It sounds weird, like I said before.
I feel like she brought this on him, and you know what? The guy, like, the shit he was saying during Hard Knocks, like, she wouldn't be intimate with him unless he played well, or she didn't want him at home.
Yeah, he had to go back in cobweb mode.
Yeah, like, come on now. A man can only live like that for so long. And you're his wife. You took that vow to be, in good times and bad, you know what I mean?
Yeah, headbutts and all.
Headbutts and all. But, real quick, last thing on football. Does Ryan Tannehill have the hottest wife in all of sports?
I would say so.
I mean, I love my wife, and I wouldn't trade her for the world, but I don't really comment on other women that often now, especially in a public format. But, boy, is this chick beautiful. No wonder why this guy's relaxed throwing the ball as well as he is. He gets to go home to that every day.
Yeah, exactly. Holy shit. She's pretty fucking hot. All tall, blonde, tan, Florida chick. He got himself a winner there.
Yeah, I can't wait for that tape to come out of a couple of years. But all right, on to the next thing. Let's move on from football a little bit. The NBA was in the news, as we all know, last week, and finally this frickin' Dwight Mayer is over. This guy drove me crazy through the month of July. I did a couple test runs before we went live with the show on the topic of Dwight Howard and we're back now. Sorry about that. We had a quick technical difficulty. Our audio cut out. But we wanted to get into a little bit of Dwight Howard, and I'm not sure exactly where we cut out, but I'm going to pull back on my comments. And what I pretty much was saying was the thing that pissed me off about this deal was that Orlando, when they were talking about making a deal with Brooklyn, they didn't want to help make another super team as far as making Brooklyn have 4 all-star caliber players. And they turn around and they send them to Orlando, and in the same sense, they actually made Philadelphia possible 4th or 5th best team in the conference. How do you feel about that, Garris?
Well, I was saying before we cut out was they did create a superpower in L.A., and they just, I believe what they did was just avoid sending him to Brooklyn because supposedly that was Dwight's first choice. So So, but you saw the way Dwight was acting when he landed in L.A. He was smiling and laughing. He's really, really happy being there. So Dwight wins in the end. I don't know how Orlando feels about the deal that they received. Probably pretty good. But basically, what were you going to get for him? You had to get anything you could, and they had offers all over the place. The only thing I could think of is either they really thought the L.A. deal was better, or they just didn't want to send him to Brooklyn. More importantly, I'd rather not criticize what Orlando did, because their hands are pretty much tied.
And 5 picks is nice.
This guy just fucked it to me, and he's a multi-millionaire, and he'll do well. He might be able to win a championship this year. But what a fucking asshole! He used to be this character where he was the nice guy. He was Superman. He was going to let Nate Robinson dunk over him. You know, the smiling, happy, shucking and jiving guy. And now he's just a fucking asshole. You have a guy that
Superman, more like Jekyll and Hyde, if you ask me.
Yeah, he's just okay. So you don't want to play for this team. So you're talking about wanting to get traded. You're not going to sign. You are going to sign. You sign an extension at the end of the year, and you give the hope of Orlando, like, hey, let's just work this deal out here. I'm going to sign an extension so I can be here next year. When that's not really what he wanted. He didn't know what he wanted. And then he goes around and tells the general manager of the team, if Stan Van Gundy's back next year, I don't want to be part of your team. Pretty much telling him to fire this guy to a team he didn't want to be involved in the first place. I think Stan Van Gundy's a great coach. He's a little weird and quirky, but I think he's a really good coach. And I'm sure Stan's much happier being away from that franchise. Anybody that sticks up for an asshole who doesn't want to be there instead of their head coach, good for them.
And has there been a coach that's gotten gotten more raw deals than Stan Van Gundy?
All the Van Gundys.
Well, Jeff is kind of an egotistical asshole in a sense, where he kind of tells teams to go fuck themselves. But, this guy got kicked out of the door on a championship team in Miami after he built it, put it together, and then, 60 games into the season, Pat Riley decides to come down and take it home, win a championship. He goes into Orlando. He takes his team from the worst team in the league to every year a top 3 team with pretty much one player, and Jameer Nelson, who's, right on the borderline of an all-star guard, I guess, but this team really had nothing around it besides this guy, and Van Gundy had them as a top team, even got them to a finals. And he just keeps getting thrown out the door. I don't know if there's something behind the scenes. He does seem like the one not to shut his mouth, but I feel bad for Stan Van Gundy because I think he's a great coach.
He is a great coach. When things like this happen, I just hope somebody like Dwight Howard breaks his knee. It didn't happen to LeBron. I kept sticking needles in a voodoo doll hoping he'd break his knee. Nothing's happened to him. Guys like this just they own the league, so they can do whatever the fuck they want. I mean, I'm kind of happy, or at the time I was happy that Melo came to the Knicks. So from that standpoint, yeah, fucking let the athletes go. But in a way, it really sucks. You're Orlando. You lose Shaquille O'Neal to fucking L.A. You lose Dwight Howard to L.A. Cleveland loses LeBron to Miami. It's just these players switching teams. It just sucks as a fan. You can't buy anybody's jersey anymore. They're so it's got a short shelf life. These jerseys. That's why I don't buy anything anymore.
You know what?
I bought was a Bernard Gilkey jersey for the
Mets. That's great. Actually, the last jersey that I bought was a Kevin Durant Seattle Supersonics jersey.
No, good. Nice.
Yeah, now it's a collector's item, and I'm probably one of 20 people who have one, but...
yeah, so if it's not the player that moves, it's the whole city that fucking picks up and leaves.
Yeah, and this guy's going to go on to be a top 5 all-time player. So, but now, with the addition of Big Dwight, in your opinion, who's the best team in the NBA? Miami, Oklahoma City, or the Lakers?
I would go Miami, Lakers, Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City is going to get a championship in the next couple of years. Hopefully that they can keep that group together. It's going to be hard when contracts start coming up in a few years. But Durant just signed that extension 2 years ago, I think it was.
I think it was in the middle of this year. He signed, for another 5 years or whatever.
Okay, so he's locked up.
Yeah.
Somebody like Westbrook,
I think Westbrook. They locked Westbrook up too.
They lock Westbrook up too.
I
Okay,
believe
good.
so.
So as long as they can keep that and a core group of good guys around them, they're going to win a championship sooner rather than later. The Lakers, just with Kobe's experience, getting a powerhouse in Dwight Howard in the center, that's huge. And to have a guy that can run the offense like Steve Nash. The only thing is he's really good at shooting. He's more of a pick and roll player. I don't know if they're going to be able to do that type of offense in that system, but I think they're a strong number two. The way LeBron played and coming off a championship win this year and a gold medal, that guy has no weight on his shoulders anymore. The whole weight of winning a championship is over. The guy can go in and just play loose, So they are the team to beat. They're just too strong, too good.
Yeah, it's kind of scary. I think we're actually going to see the LeBron that everybody has expected, probably since his second or third year in the league when he got Cleveland to the finals by himself.
Yeah,
and everybody expecting him to be a man-child, and I think he's finally come into that. And I think he's 27, 28 years old right now.
But he looks like a 38-year-old garbage man.
Yeah, but you know what? The guy will outrun, jump, and probably muscle anybody in the NBA. So, but I think LA, they're going to be great this year. But I think they have a 2-year window, and you know what? If they don't get to the finals this year, I don't think Dwight's going to sign back, because you got to think, Kobe's maybe got another 2-3 years left in him. He's probably the oldest NBA player at the age of 35 you'll ever see. I mean, the guy's been in the league going into his 18th year this year. That's crazy.
Yeah, he's only 34, but it's like he's 42.
Yeah, he's going to be 35 during the season, and he's just he doesn't have the same. He's still a great shooter. He's still an assassin. The Black Mamba, the legend. All the championships. Never will be Jordan, but he's up there with the top 10 of all time. But I say Kobe's maybe got 2 more really good years left. Nash has got another maybe 2 years really good left. Paul Gasol, I don't know what you're really going to get from him, to be honest, because now, there's so many players that are going to, like Kobe needs the ball, Nash needs the ball, Dwight's going to want the ball. So where does Gasol fit in that whole thing? I think that's going to be interesting.
Are you saying he's the LA's Amari Stoudemire?
Or Chris Bosh? Yeah, I have a feeling that might be the case.
Yeah, well, then there's a lot of people Dwight Howard lives in the post. Kobe is a great post player, great baseline player. They need the ball. The offense runs through him. So you might have a little bit of a lock. It's going to take a little bit to get used to.
It's going to take 20 games, I would say, for them to match.
Kobe's a winner. He'll take control of that team. He'll have no problem putting Dwight in his place or whoever he needs to put in his place. He's a winner, so.
But I see Oklahoma City this year. If they're able to beat them, I don't think Dwight is going to sign an extension during the year. I think he's going to go into free agency. And you know what? He kind of, by doing that stupid opt-in deal in this past March, it kind of screwed him, because there was a lot of teams with money this year, and I don't think it really, besides Dallas next year, and that was his second choice, was Dallas. Unless he wants Dallas, Cuban, to get in a bidding war with LA. But with the NBA, the way it's constructed now, you really can't even get in a bidding war. They're going to offer the max deal, and that's what you're going to be able to get. So I don't know. I have a feeling he'll probably stay with LA because he lives out there. He wants to win. He wants to be in Hollywood after his career. He wants to be in movies and whatnot.
Well, you see him. He's been hanging out in Orlando for the last few years. And if you ever see the pigs that walk around Disney, he's going to be in heaven once he's comfortable in L.A. He's going to get a lot of trim.
Well, supposedly he's been out in L.A. since March, since he left the team to go have the back surgery. He went out to L.A. and he never went back to Orlando once.
Well, no shit. He probably dipped his Black Mamba into something, some kind of model out there. And why would you want to leave?
It must be a beautiful place because it seems like everybody wants to go there. But speaking of NBA, and you brought it up before, little Carmelo Anthony, what a Olympics this guy had. Playing unselfish basketball, looking like the team player that we all wish he would be here with the Knicks. Distributing, hitting big shots, not needing many minutes, not playing isolation basketball, which is kind of one of the weirdest things I've ever seen. I didn't watch many games. The few games I did watch, to see him rotating without the ball, moving without the ball. You know, when he gets the ball, he's actually dribbling left to right instead of straight to the hole, looking to dish. He looked like a completely different guy out there, and I wonder if this is going to carry over to the regular season. I did go back and look after the 08 Olympics. That was his best professional year with Denver, and actually I read an article that goes back to the beginning of the 08 season when they got off to a very nice start, and he said that playing with those great players in the Olympics inspired him, and you know, it really carried over to the regular season. And if you're a Knicks fan, I think you're pretty excited to hear that back then, but also even with his comments after this Olympics, he seems to be highly motivated. He seems in shape. I think it helped that he had Tyson Chandler with him winning that gold medal. And what do you think this is going to do for him in the upcoming season?
You know what, I had time to think about it in two ways. I kind of agree with what you're saying, or mostly agree with what you're saying. I mean, it helps playing in the Olympic Games when you have a LeBron James, when you have Tyson Chandler, Kevin Durant. You have all those great players that are at your disposal, and that was LeBron's team. So anything that happens is going to go through LeBron. And with those type players, it's different than playing in New York with, you know, a Tony Douglas, or now it's going to be Raymond Felton and Amari Stoudemire. You know what? Carmelo feels a lot of pressure on himself to perform. I do like the parallel of 2008. That's the only time that Carmelo Anthony and the Denver Nuggets got out of the first round of the playoffs in the Carmelo Anthony regime over there. It was the only time they got out of the first round. They went all the way to the Western Conference Finals and lost. So I like the parallel. I'd like to get out of the first round, and hopefully he can bring that over to the East Coast with the Knicks and do that this year. I like that he's been playing over the summer, so he doesn't have time to get fat and out of shape. You know, we kind of kept him in shape, and now he can go celebrate a little bit, get into training camp early when it comes in time in September, which isn't far away, only a few weeks until training camp in basketball. So pretty much he's had no time off to slack, and so I'm hoping that, like you said, I'm hoping he can bring this over here, broaden his horizons a little bit, and play a little bit of a different style. I don't see that happening because this is his team. It's not Amari Stoudemire's team anymore. It hasn't since he's gotten here. It's now Melo's team, and he's going to run it the way he sees fits.
I agree. I don't know. Although Melo played as well as he did in the Olympics, I mean, scored 37 points in, 16 minutes? I can't even do that in my damn driveway.
He shot lights out. He played fucking awesome. He was an all-around good team player. It just helps when you have that many all-stars on one single team. He doesn't feel the pressure. You know, every once in a while in the Knicks, you're going to get a guy that's going to be able to drain 30 points. Shit, Nate Robinson put up a couple times 50 points in a game. Nate Robinson's not a good player. Where Carmelo Anthony is, and he knows he doesn't have the great surrounding cast that he would like Miami has. But so he's going to feel the extra pressure, and he's going to try and do it. He played lights out. He just had a lot of people to, there's a lot of people to keep an eye on over there in London.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know if it makes any difference, but maybe that the fact that he had to come off the bench over there in London, maybe that makes him realize, whatever I got to do to win. Because at this point, now going into his 10th year, absolutely no playoff success in my opinion. And, this is going to be his third season with the Knicks. It's time to either step up or step out. And I think that the Knicks front office is probably going to be thinking the same thing. If you don't show me results, we're going to have to look another direction.
Well, they're not going to. Any basketball fans or Knicks fans that are listening, the Knicks aren't going to win a championship with Carmelo Anthony. They're just not. Not when there's LeBron James and them and down there. Not when there's Kevin Durant and OKC. The only thing you can hope to is win a playoff series or two. Get to the Eastern Conference Finals, because you're not getting out of it. You're going to stay in there. So, as a Knicks fan, you just want to win a playoff series to give yourself a little hope. You're not going to win a championship, and especially not with Melo. He's not that type of player in this kind of system.
I mean, you know what's scary is, and we're going to go back to that trade with Dwight Howard. This Philly team now, Evan Turner, Drew Holiday, Andrew Bynum, this team gels, stays healthy, and plays the way they're capable of playing. I mean, I feel bad for the Knicks. They finally get good talent. Now they got Miami standing in their way. Chicago's going to be good. Philadelphia, Boston is pretty consistent. You got Brooklyn breathing down their neck. The Knicks are in a tight spot, I think. I feel bad for all the Knicks fans out there because they waited a long time, and now, as good as they are, they're still in the middle of the pack, similar to the Jets.
Yeah, they are in the middle of the pack, and they're not going to be able to get out of it. They're just not that good of a team. Melo's a good player, but, I mean, what he showed you last year, what I've been hearing since the trade in February, a year and a half ago or so, when he first got traded over here. Yeah, it's going to take some time to gel and get together, We saw how it worked out. It didn't work for shit. Then they said, once we get a training camp together, which they had a rush training camp.
I wouldn't even call it a training camp.
Yeah, the lockout, whatever you want to call it, like 2 practices and 2 preseason games. They couldn't work it out. And all year long, they couldn't work it out. So this year, supposedly, they're going to be able to have a full training camp, and everything's going to be different. I just don't see it. You have another year older on Amari Stoudemire's brittle candy cigarette knees, which are about ready to snap any second. Tyson Chandler, I'm excited for. He's a great player and a winner. But who else do they got? They got fat Raymond Felton. He looks like a Ninja Turtle. So I don't know what.
They got the drinking and driving Jason Kidd.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I forgot. See, that's what I mean. I completely forgot that they have Jason Kidd. Yeah, we get them when they're 40.
Yeah.
Let's find Dominique Wilkins next.
Oh baby. All right, we're gonna take a quick break here. We're actually.
Real quick before you go, because we touched on the Olympics, and then we'll go to break. If you guys get a chance. Every time I was watching the Olympics this last 2 weeks, Google the logo, because the logo looks like Lisa Simpson blowing her brother Bart. And if anybody else doesn't notice that, then I'm sorry, but I couldn't every time I saw that stupid logo, that's all I thought about. So Google that while we're on break, and go fuck yourselves. We're going to break.
All right, back after this, and actually, I think in my screen settings I might have a picture of that logo that I could pop up for the people when we get back. But we're going to take a quick break. We're actually at the 1 hour mark. We're still not done yet. We're going to go into a little bit of Mets, a little bit of Yankees. There's not really much to touch on there. But we'll hit that when we get back. About 4 or 5 minutes. Back after this.
I reminisce. Yeah. I reminisce for a spell, or shall I say think back 22 years ago to keep it on track. The birth of a child on the 8th of October. A toast, but my granddaddy came sober. Count all the fingers and the toes, now I suppose you hope the little black boy grows. 18 years younger than my mama, but I really got beatings cause the girl loved drama. In single parenthood, there I stood. By the time she was 21, had another one. This one's a girl, let's name her Pam. Same father as the first, but you don't give a damn. Irresponsible, plain not thinking. Papa said chill, but the brother keep winking. Still he won't down you or tear out your hide. On your side while the baby make a slide. But mama got wise to the game. The youngest of 5 kids, hun, here it is. After 10 years without no spouse, mama's getting married in the house. Listen, positive over negative, for the woman a master. Mother Queen's rise in the chapter. Deja vu, tell you what I'm gonna do when they reminisce over you, my God. When
When I date back, I recall a man off the family tree. My right hand, Papa Doc, I see. Took me from a boy to a man, so I always had a father. When my biological didn't bother taking care of this. So who am I to bicker? Not a bad ticker, but I'm clocking Pop's liver. But you can never say that his life is through. 5 kids at 21, believe he got a right to. Here we go while I check the scene with the Portuguese lover at the age of 14. The same age, front page, no fuss. But I bet you all you know they live longer than us. Never been seen now, that's where you're wrong. But give the man a taste and he's gone. Nodding off sleep to a jazz tune. I can hear his head banging on the wall in the next room. I get the pillow and hope I don't wake him. For this man to cuss, hear it all in verbatim. Telling me how to raise my boy unless he's taking over. I said, Pop, maybe when you're older. We laughed all night about the hookers at the party. My old man standing yelling, good God Almighty. Use your condom, take sips of the brew. When they reminisce over you, for real.
For real, baby. Like that. We for real. Yeah. Come on.
I reminisce so you never forget this. The days are way back, so many bear witness the fitness. Take the first letter out of each word in this joint. Listen close as I prove my point. T to the R-O-Y, how did you and I meet in front of Big Lou's fighting in the street? But only you saw what took many time to see. I dedicate this to you for believing in me. Rain or shine, yes in any weather. My grandma Pam holds the family together. My Uncle Doc's the greatest, better get the latest. If we're talking about a car, Uncle Sterling got the latest. I strive to be live cause I got no choice and run my own business like my Aunt Joyce. So Pete Rock hit me, enough respect due when they reminisce over you. Listen.
Listen. Just listen to the funky songs as I rock on. And that's
And we are back live via Ustream.tv. Going over the hour mark right now. 8 o'clock on the East Coast. Coming to you live. This is Garris Gagz, the New York Sports Guys. Touch on a couple things today. Jets, Giants, training camps, a little bit of Hard Knocks. We went over a little bit of NBA with the Dwight Howard trade earlier. And we're going to close out the show with some baseball. It's really been quiet on the home front the last couple of weeks. The Mets actually won a couple of games out on the West Coast. Came back, didn't play too great against the Braves, but they somehow held on last night. Yankees playing below 500 ball, continuously losing one-run games. Yesterday was a terrible performance by Phil Hughes, who gave up 7 runs before you even can sit down and enjoy the game. They tried to fight back, but just didn't have them in them. And as far as the Yankees go, my concerns that I mentioned 13 days ago on our last broadcast are continuing to haunt me. This team does not have deep starting pitching, especially now that CeCe's gone down. If he's not on the mound, come, I think it's July 25th is when he's supposed to come back. Not July, August 25th. It's going to really concern me for the long-term future. And the way the Devil Rays, the Tampa Bay Rays are playing right now, it seems like since Longoria came back, they don't lose. So this division is not locked up. I thought they were going to run away with it. They obviously are letting every team stick around. It's kind of scary as a Yankee fan. What do you think about the Yankees now, Garris?
Go Devil Rays. Fuck the Yankees. Excuse me. I received a text message from somebody saying I'm cursing too much right now, so I apologize.
It's all right. Fuck them.
The Yankees suck. I still think, obviously, they're going to win the division. Everybody has ups and downs. I think you were dead wrong in the broadcast 2 weeks ago about that they are in control of the division. I just think there's a little blip on the radar, and they're going to be back up and back winning. It all comes down to October. It always has with the Yankees, and they live and die by the long ball. That's for sure. But it's like I said before, it's better to win with a home run than to leave ducks on the pond and sit there and strike out. So, what is it? What are they? 5 games ahead right now?
Yeah, I believe they have a 5-game lead.
Yeah, they're not 16 and a half out like the Mets. So you're sitting in a pretty good position. You're going to get some people coming back. And it's going to be it's not going to be a cakewalk to the end like I thought it was 2 weeks ago. But you're still going to win the division, and you're going to. My guarantee is you guys are going to go to the World Series. Not saying you're going to win. It really depends on who you play, but I would say you guys are the front runner for the AL East. And if you're nervous, you're just a nervous Yankee fan. You know what? I got nothing else. I'm sorry.
I mean, I am a nervous Yankee fan, and I think this next 4-game set with Texas is going to say a lot. Actually, I'm going to be at the game Wednesday night. My wife was nice enough to buy me tickets for our anniversary, so I'll be sitting like the fourth row or something like that on Wednesday night. And I think this is going to show a lot, even though they're a broken down Yankee team right now. If they can win 3 out of 4, or even go 2-2 against this Texas team with their offense, I think that's going to, kind of tell you exactly what this team is made of. I still have so many questions. There's so many inconsistencies. Especially when it comes to October. Is Pettit even going to be back this year? With CC's elbow. I mean, this is the second time in 5 weeks that this guy's been on the DL. And they act like it's no big deal, but, 2 DL stints in 5 weeks is quite alarming.
Yeah, John Heyman was saying that it's nothing major, and he doesn't believe that the Yankees are lying to him. They just think that it's a little bit. Listen, the guy's thrown 40,000 pitches since I forget what year it was. In the last 10 years or so, I think that was the stat. The last 8 years, he's thrown 40,000 pitches. That's a lot of pitches.
That is a lot of pitches. Probably
That's
the
a
most.
lot of pitches. He's a workhorse, and he really hasn't been injured throughout his whole career. He's a beast. And if he's feeling a little sore, you can shut him down for a little bit. You got a 5-game lead. Come back in September, storm back, take the division, and go into October, with winning baseball.
I just look at it as right now, the schedule that they got coming up. They're going to see Texas, and in 4 days they could have a 1-game lead. That's the way Texas is. They hit a ton. Yankees are broken down right now, pitching. Their bullpen hasn't been doing a job, and I'm nervous because their schedule coming up is against good teams. They're going to see the White Sox again. They're going to see Texas, obviously. I think they got Tampa in there. They have, I don't have it in front of me, but I think the next 12 games or 15 games are against good teams.
Yeah, but
besides Toronto.
You know who has almost the exact same schedule? Is Tampa. They play almost the exact same teams going down the stretch. So you count on a team that you have a 5-game lead over, playing that much better against better teams than the Rays, than themselves. So I wouldn't be nervous. You got a rough stretch coming up. I can't wait for that Texas series. I might actually watch baseball again. But I wouldn't be too nervous about it. The Yankees always find a way to win. They missed only 1 year as far as the playoffs goes in the last 15, 16. So
18.
I don't see anything being different. I just think they're gonna, like I said before, just take control and go into October.
I just think when they get to October, though, the Texas, even Detroit, the way Detroit's starting to play a little bit better, they can't beat Verlander for their life. And you look at the Angels, if they get in with, their pitching staff, with Weaver, Greinke, C.J. Wilson, Dan Herron, I mean, those are 4 top-of-the-line starters in 1 rotation. It's quite scary.
Yeah, it's just, I would be more nervous about the news that broke earlier about A-Rod. I mean, that would make me a little bit more nervous now.
What was the news that broke on A-Rod? I was not informed.
He has AIDS.
Oh. Oh, man, those Toronto hookers get you every time. But over to the other side of town, to your New York Mets. What can you say about them? That's exactly what I was thinking, and I think that's going to conclude our broadcast tonight for the New York Sports Guys with Garris and Gagz. It's been so bad we don't even want to talk about them.
Yeah, who?
Exactly. Maybe Dickey wins 20 games, and you know what? We'll revisit that at the end of September. But besides that, this team has nothing to really even. There's nothing to say. They have a 6-1 lead, and they still almost lose. They still almost lose the game last night. So, but that's going to wrap it up for us tonight. We went a little bit over our normal scheduling, but hey, it's going to happen sometime. We do plan on broadcasting again Thursday night at 9 p.m. Live via Ustream.tv, or if you tune into our fan page on Facebook, you can click the live show app next to events, which will bring up our Ustream channel on your Facebook page, so you don't have to go to another website. You can watch it right through Facebook. You can follow us at Twitter, which I haven't mentioned yet, at NYSportsGuys 1. And things are still in the works here. We're still trying to improve the show. Sound quality will be better for the next broadcast. I can promise that. We have some new stuff coming in. We're also working on that phone line, getting that hooked up into this system so we can take your calls. And, you know, hit us up on the chat, hit us up on Facebook, hit us up on Twitter. You guys know how to get in touch with us. Also, a couple results real quick before we do close out. Poll results. Professional athletes, do you believe they should be banned from the Olympics? Majority of the people said they like the professional athletes in the Olympics. What people were most excited about was the NFL season, and we'll be posting a new poll question probably before the end of the night. So check that out. Check us out. Leave comments on our fan page at Facebook. It's New York Sports Guys on Ustream.tv. Signing off for tonight. Any last words, Garris?
Penis.
Good night, everybody.